Okay, so daily, since school has been back in, I spend about 5 to 30 minutes laying on the floor. Today, I had props out, and so I did a little bit more structured, and so just sharing it with you here today. So I set up with a pressed foam block and then two cork blocks underneath the bolster, just kind of side sitting and then twist over it. What I discovered is if I take another press foam block and put it on my trail, underneath my trail forearm, it will help rotate me towards the camera. So you'll see how in my shirt, from like the top of my pants at the bottom, if you zoom in, all the way up to the armpit on this side, I get nice rotation in. And then you can just kind of play with what you do with your legs. You could have them both sort of tucked up and stacked, um, or take the bottom one straight, or take the top one straight, or take the top knee onto the floor. You kind of decide and play. But what you want to do is wherever you take the legs, wherever you take the arms, however you turn the head, you want to be cultivating this sense of a twist. I also found that if I shifted my whole setup on a bit more of an angle, um, it promoted that sense of ease in the twist. Again, now if you zoom in on my shirt, you'll see how more of the fibers kind of from my belly button to the center of my back along the side get into that rotation, and it just feels better in my system. So, you know, play with your setup. If there's a sense of kind of wanting to fold towards that front knee rather than coming out directly from that bottom hip, follow that desire and urge. And then just breathe. Feels really, really lovely to have your system supported and just a really easy, relaxed breath in and breath out. Maybe you put a podcast on or some music, or you just enjoy the quiet and stillness, maybe, of your space. As you breathe and settle, you might get nudged to make other adjustments. You might get nudged by your system to explore other adjustments. And follow those nudges. So you see here I get nudged to bring it a little bit more forward. So and then I get nudged to play with the arm placement. Again, I'm exploring those adjustments that have there be more ease and bring me into a bit more rotation. There's no exact right or wrong placement of the props. Again, you're wanting to utilize the props that bring you into a bit more of the pose and the essence of the pose. And because this was a twist, I explored things that made that twist easier in my body. And then once you find that sweet spot, you just hang there and breathe. I wasn't even sure if I was going to do the other side, but then I came out and was like, oh yeah, no, I want to do the other side. But you don't have to. So if you do one side, that might be all you need is that side. Again, just note my shirt, and you'll see that all the adjustments I make over the next few moments are about nurturing those lines and that twist, my abdomen, between my rib cage and pelvis of my shirt. And the setup on the second side will not be identical to the setup on your first side. So just notice if you are kind of coming in with that agenda and following that logic, and let that go. And again, follow those little nudges, those little adjustments that your system signals. And you'll notice the point in which you kind of end up landing, and then you'll stay there for a few breaths, a few minutes. And this was it for me on this side, was this setup here. And again, look at the lines in my shirt. And it's cool as I record the audio is that I spent about 6 minutes on each side without trying to spend 6 minutes on each side. Yeah, I just love that. And then I just kind of left the props how they were set up and decided that I was going to work a seated forward fold here. These can be really hard for lots of us. So I prop it up, but I want the lower part of the bolster right down into the pubis. And then I take the foam block. I'm going to end up changing its orientation here because I want to be less spinal flexion and kind of longer through the spine, but with a relaxed spine. So you'll see I adjust the block so that my chest is supported on it and then my head is free flowing. Arms hug the bolster, and this feels really, really lovely and nurturing because it kind of is like hugging somebody. But we want to have a sense of the pelvis moving forward. So if you think of where the tag on the waistband of your pants is, that should have a sense of coming forward and towards the ground. I also worked in just a little of bending the legs, straightening the legs. And again, this just helps my pelvis find a place to settle with a sense of the tag of my pants coming forward and towards the floor in front of me versus trying to push back away from my feet and towards the wall behind me. And then again, you just settle in and breathe. But the hugging of the bolster and having that contact or compression along the front of the body is really, really lovely. And so is just this gentle, like letting the legs fold a little bit and then reaching the legs long. And then again, I was just like, oh, I'm just going to make use of the props that I have, and felt like a little bit of an inversion and little backbend because I was only going to do, this and one more movement. I wanted to start to bring my energy up a little bit, not have it be so grounded down because I got stuff to do. So with this one, I put a pressed foam block underneath the bolster and then 2 at the end of the bolster. And then a felt pad, could be a folded towel, in front of the blocks. So head's going to go on the lowest surface, shoulder blades, tops of the shoulders on the second highest surface, and then the abdomen, pelvis would be on the highest surface, being the bolster. And my bolster kind of compresses down, so I realize once I get down that I need to move the block. Otherwise, I'm really in less of a inversion and more of just like the back bend. So you'll see I adjust, but I couldn't kind of do it here this way, so I have to come off and come back in. But you want the pelvis being the highest part of you. So I just scoot that block down, to give the bolster some more structure in that place, and then come back in. So now my pelvis is on that bolster. Really minimal kind of back bend. And then I just get the support underneath the head that I need. And this is really lovely, especially if you've got any neck or shoulder stuff going on. It kind of sets and gives you some space in the neck where you can find the shoulders. And this just gives my shoulders just even a little bit more space. And then once I get this kind of sense of weight on the upper shoulders and on the head, don't be afraid to play with where the arms are. I'm really nurturing this like rolling off of that, of the blocks of the shoulders, kind of coming towards the ears. And then I just kind of got the nudge to take the legs up, bring the weight of the legs into the pelvis. And this is like a freestanding legs up the wall. That felt really good. And again, once you find the sweet spot, you'll notice that you really settle into some stillness. So once I was here, then I brought just the lips together. Like if there was a piece of paper between them and you tried to pull it out, you wouldn't be able to. And keeping a little puff of air behind those kissing lips, and inhaling and exhaling, maintaining that trumpet puff of air behind the lips and into the cheeks. And you'll notice if you zoom in the video, you'll see where I get really nice kind of upper chest expansion with this, rather than belly rising and falling with the inhale and exhale. And it felt amazing. So just a way to just shift pressure in the system. And just give yourself time and space. You'll see here again, like once I settle into listening to those little nudges, my system is like, yes, stillness. And it just is there for several minutes. So don't force yourself to arrive sooner than you actually arrive. Mind you, my system and we've had a lot of practice in getting to know how to hear one another, respond, and honor. So then I'm like gonna do one more pose here to finish off. I just want to get all these props out of the way. And then to bring that bolster under the legs, I kind of go more under the feet, bring it up a little higher. And then I don't want to feel any stretch in my groin, so I'm going to bring these underneath the thigh and shin. and then it doesn't feel like I'm like hanging out in any joint at all. Feels really good. I make a few minor adjustments with the hands and whatnot, and then again, just am really able to drop in. And I think I dropped quite deep with this one. I may have had like a 5-minute cat nap here. So just again, pick kind of some props that you want to use on any particular day. Use them for the positions, or just have one position. Lay on your back, lay on your belly. And again, just prop yourself so that you can feel yourself really drop into that sense of stillness and be there. It might be 2 minutes, it might be 5 minutes, it might be 10 minutes, or it might be like today, 30 minutes. But I'm going to leave you with that. I finish off here. But honestly, since September started, spending some time on the floor daily has been vital. Actually, my husband does it. He walks through the door, takes his boots off, has a shower, and then he lays on the ground for about 5 minutes till we're ready to eat dinner. It's just kind of a thing we have been doing, and it works. So I'm sharing it with you here today. Okay. Om Shanti Shanti, peace.